So our theme this month is August. Our August theme is trust. We did steadfastness in July, and it's amazing how so many people have caught on that there actually is a progression that's going on, and that it was no accident that steadfastness was right before trust. And we're doing trust. We're doing trust in August. And it's beautiful to hear the babies cry. We had a wonderful, wonderful Youth Sunday last Sunday and blessed a couple of families. And thank you. Thank you, everybody, for being here. And I mention that because one of the things that keeps me trusting is just life. There's an eternality, there's an ongoingness, there's an everness of life. But my topic today is the choice to trust. The choice to trust. And I'm actually going to speak more this week about that idea of the choosing rather than so much specifically about the trust. And you'll get why in a moment. When we put all the emphasis on the trust, we start getting into the externalization, the objectification of it, like who to trust, like what to trust. We start looking all outside of ourselves, and we're thinking, I've got to sift and sort and figure out what to believe in, like what not to believe in, as though my trust is based upon the external. Is the external reliable enough for me to trust? And, you know, what's solid enough for me to stand on? And then I'm in the search for that. But we're here talking about the choice to trust. The choice to trust. Ultimately, everything that we do as we're going around in life involves some kind of choice. Now, I know that's difficult for people to grasp. I'm not saying that we get to control all of the outer circumstances and conditions, but we do get to choose what we do with it. We do get to choose our interpretation of it. And it is that interpretation that creates our experience. It is the interpretation that creates our experience. Okay, you hear me say this all the time, right? But I'm doing a little switch on this now. Okay? Because when we talk about our interpretation creates our experience, once again, it's a bit of hindsight. Like there's something that happens, I'm looking at what happens, and I'm making judgment and interpreting something that's already happened. But we have a choice about what happens. Okay? We have a choice about what happens. We have a choice before anything happens on how it's going to impact us. Hang with me here. It's not just, does something happen, and then I get to decide what I'm going to do about it. I get to determine before things happen what I'm going to do about it. And my determination before things happen actually shifts and alters what happens. Trust, the choice to trust, is more about imagination. It's more about the capacity and the ability to conceive or to perceive. You can't wait until things happen, because then you are constantly reactionary. We're like marionettes. And life's just doing this to us. This is the economy. This is my marriage. This administration. Like this. Stuff jerking our strings all over the place. Cut the strings. Cut the strings. Take control of your life. We live in a field of all possibility. The reading today was from this book I mentioned earlier, Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself. And Dr. Joe Dispenza just brings forward from a physical standpoint all the things that we already know metaphysically, like giving us the spiritual link and the scientific links, bringing them together. So when I would hear the new science and quantum physics talking about the relationship between the observer and the observed, and how that which is observed actually shifts depending upon the observer, it was like, I wasn't like quite, wasn't quite like getting it. And yet in my heart, I know that what we think about, we bring about. I know that. And then as he was breaking it down and saying, well, everything is made up of atoms, but at the subatomic level, which is what we weren't catching on before, that 95% of it is just energy as wave, like invisible. That what we call matter is only 5%. So that at the subatomic level, everything is both a wave and a particle. It's both empty space and substance. But the parts that substance is only 95%. Most of reality, most of life is just the void. It's just the empty space of all possibility. It's just extraordinary when we think about that and let that sink in a little bit. And I remember it clicking in with me with the analogy of music. It's like, where is music? Where is it? It's like it's everywhere as a wave. But when we sing, it comes into form, yes? That idea of the observer impacting the observed. That which just exists in infinite possibility, the moment we give it our attention, the moment we give it some shape, the moment that we impress something upon it, it takes shape and form. This is true for everything. Creative. Where's art? Why can't we see it? We don't see it until something lets it come through it. Nature, ourselves. Music is everywhere, right? It's everywhere till something comes through. And we are that 95%. We think of ourselves as just the old Newtonian model where everything is just matter. Everything is just this mass of stuff, and the only thing that energy does is just move this mass of stuff, so all of our attention goes to the particle. All of our attention goes to the material world, trying to shift the material world when things shift in the energetic world. When you put your attention on the energetic world, when you put your attention as a vibratory pattern, as a frequency, then the outer world of manifestation comes and catches up to you. You can't get rid of disease. You can't get rid of disease. The only thing that you can really do is to recognize you are not the disease. So whatever that 5% that's particle that's manifesting in you as disease, There is something within you that's got to click in to that chi energy that's part of that 95% pure potentiality. Pure potentiality. We're all going to go sometime. Illness or injury, that's it. We're all going sometime. So I'm not here to say that tapping in to that quantum field is going to make you live forever. Or you're going to tap into some magic elixir. What I am saying is that any health that you will ever know is already within you as a potentiality. So what is this that we need to trust? And that choice to trust, the choice to trust is not in the outer forms that we've already seen, but to gain more trust in the sense of the invisible, to gain more trust in the sense of the field of pure potentiality that we participate in. We participate in it. If we make our lives constantly reactionary, if I'm only reacting to what I think I know or reacting to what I think is possible, then the past is forever a precedent for the future. We have to dare to dream. We have to dare to dream. So we've had this hullabaloo here in the United States around marriage equality, yes? Okay. But do you know why we have it? It's because some of us had the audacity years before it was ever a discussion to live as though it was so. Just a few moments ago, for the first time ever, my former mother-in-law was in here a few moments ago, on her way to the Catholic Church. I married her daughter over 35 years ago. In a ceremony, plenty documented, not only in books. We were on Phil Donahue 7 years later after that, in 1990. Because we could see it. Are you with me? It's the why not? Why not? Your ability in life to experience the goodness of life can't be based upon you looking back at what everybody else has already done. My goose would have been sunk between the racism and the sexism and the homophobia and everything else. If there's not a part of you that's willing to be the first, are you with me? We are pioneers of possibility. The pioneer is on the front line. The pioneer is the one who's brave enough to go through the wilderness and say, why not? And it's a really thin line between a pioneer and a token, baby. It's a really thin line. And when you're in it, you don't really know which one you are. Okay? The only difference is, are there people behind you? And you control that. You can change that being a token into being a pioneer. That place of trust is in all possibility. If you get stuck on just what you see. I don't care whether it's your own personal life, and you can't wait till everything else around you says that it's possible. Have any of you been in that situation? Maybe you had a child born with a certain condition or something that was up, and everybody was telling you about there's no hope, there's no this, there's no that. But you weren't taking no for an answer. Are you with me? It's that what I know is that it is an awesome universe. That's what I know. What I know that this universe is a friendly universe. This universe wants to be more of itself in, through, and as each and every one of us. That life does not rejoice when there are fewer places to express through. That there's nothing out there that wants us sad or miserable. Nothing out there that wants us poor or broke. This stuff that we see here, most of that is man-made. The poverty that we see around the world, most of that's man-made. The environmental degradation we see, that's man-made. The social injustice stuff we see, that's man-made. Life's not doing that. Life is not doing that. That field of potentiality will respond to everybody equally. It doesn't care whether you're in China or Chicago. It doesn't matter if your parents were married or not married, or different races got married. The universe doesn't care about any of that. It's just looking for yeses. It's just looking for somebody somewhere to say yes and to dare to dream beyond the circumstance. You hear me mention the prison all the time, and it just does my heart so good, because I am watching time and time and time again, particularly these lifers who never thought they were getting out, who go through our program, start thinking anew, and the phones start ringing. The letters start coming in. You won't believe it, I'm up for parole. I'm up for parole. And now we're actually hearing that the reason why they're up for parole is because they've gone through our program. Not just that they know it, but the prison knows it. That the prison knows it. Because something has shifted. One of the guys that comes here sometimes, Kalen Hadley. A few of us went down in May. He got his master's in social work. He's been out, I think, 3 or 4 years now. He's got his master's in social work now, and he's going for his PhD in drug rehabilitation. Over 20 years. We had him locked up under 3 strikes. It's crazy. But you know what? What makes somebody trust when you're locked up in prison? What makes you trust in a war-torn zone? What makes you trust when you're in a rotten marriage that's just fighting and whatnot all over the place? What makes you trust when you're in the hospital bed and people are telling you this, that, or whatever? It's a choice. That's what it boils down to. It's a choice. It's a choice to do it ahead of time. It's the choice to do it before the evidence. Most of us think, well, I'll believe it when I see it. It's the other way around. You will see it when you believe it. You will see it when you believe it. You will see it when you believe it. what we think about, we bring about. It's the most amazing thing, and I mention this from time to time, how there is absolutely no question about the spiritual laws when they are applied in the negative. Nobody ever questions me when it's in the negative. If we were to say right now, if you go around angry and bitter and resentful and hateful, you're probably going to have a pretty rotten experience in life, yes? Okay? We don't have to know all about physics and particles and waves and whatnot to already know that if you go around in life like that, next week, the week after that, and the week after that, stuff gonna happen. Stuff gonna happen that is going to reinforce that. Is there any doubt in anybody's mind that that's the case? Absolutely none. We know that. And yet, if I say to people, you know what? If you trust and you believe and you have the audacity to imagine life as good as these naysayers imagine life to be bad, you will have a corollary experience on the other end of the continuum. This week, next week, week after that, some good stuff going to be happening that you experience. We don't know what it's going to be any more than we know what all the negative stuff is going to be for the other person. Yet somehow or another, we need proof about the positive. Before I can believe that, you got to show me proof it's going to change next week. Proof it's going to be different. Proof, proof, proof. You're not asking me for any proof that the other people are going to experience a bunch of crap. You don't need proof because you know how the laws work. Yes? Mother wit, my grandmother used to call it. Mother wit. What goes around comes around. We know that. Every spiritual tradition teaches that. They may call it cause and effect. They may call it karma. They may call it anything. Sins of the father visited upon the children. There's all kind of ways. You reap what you sow. But this idea that what you put out, you get back. Okay? Trust that. Choose to trust that. We don't always know exactly what it's going to look like. We can't figure everything out. But in the trusting, don't be fooled by the appearances. Because when the blessing shows up, a lot of times it doesn't show up like what you thought. You're praying for an answer. Oh, not that answer. Not that answer. And you pray again. No, you're not listening, God. Not that answer. What do you mean it's going to be like that? No. What's supposed to come through that person? No. For real? Nah. The good ones are supposed to be over there. You mean I got to change this? Gotta let go to that? I have to forgive so-and-so. Really? Really? all that resistance keeps you where you are. Listen to what I'm saying. We pray for change and then resist the change. We pray for change, but then we don't like the change. You don't get to control the change. But don't give up because it doesn't look like what you think it's going to look like. Don't give up. I don't care whether it's on the personal level or whether it's on a global level. The same principles work. We pray in a lot of stuff we actually don't want to go through as part of the healing process. That unconditional loving that you're wanting is right on the other side of the forgiveness. See? That new career and new expression that you're wanting, it's right on the other side of letting go of what's been real cushy. See? That new way of being, or this new project, this new something that I say that I want. It's right on the other side of, well, I don't want to, blah, blah, blah. So it's like we have our foot on the gas and our foot on the brake at the same time. And we're neutralizing our own energy. Okay? Because the whining, the complaining, the questioning, the resistance equals no. It equals no. It's just physics. It's like the law. It's like the law. Negative, positive, boom, neutral, boom, zero. Can we choose? Can we choose to be steadfast? Can we choose to say, you know what? Case in point. Would I have chosen Donald Trump? No. I know that's shocking. Fan yourself before you faint. I wouldn't have chosen Donald Trump. But I can't tell you how many times I have asked and brought forth, what is it going to take to get this nation up off its duff? What in the world is it going to take? I have been so frustrated for years at what has felt like an increasing passivity. Like we got to do more than just text and tweet about stuff. Really, I don't know about you, but I have been frustrated. I'm cleaning out my office now, and I hope I find this bumper sticker. I think I know where it is. Somebody gave it to me years ago, and I am going to put it on my car. It says, "Wake the flock up." And I'm sticking it right under my inner light license plate. I don't have much anonymity in town. Would I have chosen him? No. Would I have chosen this drama? Nah. Like most people, I'd rather skip it. Just bring me the ice cream. Like the kid, let's skip the broccoli and get to the ice cream. But you know what I know? You can't heal what you don't feel. I've wondered for years, what is it going to take for this nation to get out of denial? What is it going to take for this nation to realize it ain't just one nation? And to be honest with you, as a person of color, I have wondered how long was it going to take my liberal white friends to realize it's not over. We elected President Obama. Ooh, it's a post-racist world. I don't know what world you're living in. And now it's like the scales are off. It's not comfortable, but you can see people going, oh my God, I had no idea. I had no idea that there were this many people, and there's this, and there's this, and it's, whoa, whoa. It's like a very, very ice-cold shower. Wake up. Are you with me? Would I have wanted this? No. But what I also know is the place of my vision of possibility of this world. We can't get there with a cesspool of this stuff. We can't get there in denial. We can't get there just letting the weeds grow and all the rest of that. It's time to confront. It's time to look. It's time to heal. It's time to deal, yes? Okay? So now is not the time to give up trust in the nation. Now is not the time to cave in. It's not the time. And here's the irony about it. I mentioned this I guess the weekend before last when Marianne Williamson was speaking in my introduction. And she referenced it in her talk. When I said to a certain extent, the amount of backlash that we're seeing on the political scene is a backhanded compliment. It's a backhanded compliment because it shows just how much change and progress had taken place. Okay? So remember this in your life. Nothing's linear. There's always a pendulum swing. For every action, there is an opposite and equal reaction. You try to go towards sobriety, everything about you that wants to keep drinking is going to come up. You want to go towards unconditional loving, you will get intimately familiar with all of your conditions. Whatever that stuff is that's been your go-to, your main excuse, it's like each of us has an Achilles heel, like a little gremlin monster, so to speak, that place of weakness within us. For some of us, it's our health. For some of us, it's our finances. For some of us, it's our relationships or whatever. Different people have different things. But the bottom line is that when that thing gets disturbed, all of a sudden we run. When that thing gets disturbed, that's when we start to doubt. And we get into fear. And we think that we can't make it. And we start to turn back around. It's like in the Exodus story. There were those moments when on the sojourn to the promised land, they started worshiping the idol gods. They were like, we're dying out here in this desert. Pissed off at Moses. You brought us out here to die. We're going back to captivity. We're going back to slavery. At least we knew then. You know, they had good food and stuff in Egypt. And yeah, I'm fed every day, but I'm bored. This manna thing every day. All my needs are met, but I'm bored. I'm bored with my needs just being met every day. We do that. But it's a choice not to go back. anything. You're worried about making the choice to go forward. That's not the choice you need to worry about. The biggest choice you need to worry about is the choice not to go back. That's your choice. That's your choice. Because you can't always see the future. You can't always know what that is that you're choosing. But you know where you've been. You know what doesn't work. You know the drama, whatever, the internalized depression. You know that. You know that. And is there anything within you that says, I won't choose that? That's all you need. You don't have to understand what anything else looks like. You don't have, I always use recovery because it's such a vivid image to me. You don't have to know how you're going to be sober. You don't have to know. Just in that moment when you're triggered, just don't pick up that drink. That's all you got to do is exercise enough self-discipline to choose not to pick up the drink. And if you will make that choice, then everything else you need to take you to where you want to go will show up. But you're not going to make it picking it up. And we all got our drugs of choice, baby. We all got our drugs of choice. Some of it's very socially acceptable. Maybe it's our work, our careers. Maybe it's our families. Maybe it's this thing or that thing. But whatever that is that we keep going back to as our safety net, that thing I think I can trust even if I don't like it because I can predict it, whatever that is, that keeps us stuck. But if you're willing to choose, God has something better for me. That there's an infinite field of pure potential. As Reverend Michael says, that your dreams are waiting for you to come true. That if you just have the audacity to imagine, to speak it, pain pushes until vision pulls. If somebody were to listen to your conversation, could they tell what it is that you really want? Could they tell what you really believe in? Or are we just talking about what we don't want or what we resist? Don't choose resistance, choose trust. Choose trust. The audacity to imagine. To imagine. And it will become so real for you. That's where you will live. That will be your experience. And eventually the outer will catch up with you. Eventually the outer will catch up with you. But you can't let the fact that the outer doesn't match your inner stop you. Keep holding on. Breathe.